Oh, so this round I realized, well, I didn't realize my face mask is torn. I realized that when I was doing this, actually. It was just, I realized I needed a new one, honestly. So, like, I lost my train of thought and I haven't even begun yet. Hello. This is how my brain works. So, I make face masks. Did I say that yet? I did 3 different kinds. So, it's an attachment with elastic, if that's what you have, or with snap buttons, if that's what you have, the sew on kind, or with, Velcro. Yeah, Velcro was the last object. So those were my 3 closure ideas. And then I used my old falling apart face mask to make a template for a new one. Technically, this face mask my aunt bought my mom, but my mom doesn't use face masks, so she gave it to me. And I've had it for almost a year and it's totally falling apart. So I need a different one. And I figured, I can make them. So I'm going to make them because why not? They're a little funky, but they work. So I made a pattern and I show that towards the end of the video so that you can screenshot it if you want. And I put a ruler out so that, you could try to make it of size. It's basic shape. It doesn't matter if it's exact. It just needs to be really basic, shaped like lines. Hold on. So, squeaky chair, dog with a squeaky toy. Oh well. Anyways, it's a cute bird toy, my sweet dude, and he has to be right next to me. Don't mind how I look in this video. My hair is crazy. I was partway through the exercise, so I'm not wearing a shirt and I look a little nuts. But that's okay because that's me. So, anyways, I don't feel like I explained what I was doing at all. I got some fabric and I made some patterns. The patterns are at the end so that you can screenshot them and try to recreate them if you want. They're just basic outlines. It's not really like much of a pattern. I just whipped it out. And then I was supposed to leave seam allowances on some of the things I did and I forgot. So I'm not great with sewing. I don't love sewing. I have never been great with sewing. It's not my favorite thing to do. My mom taught us how to sew when we were really little. So, I've known how my whole life, but I'm not good at it. So, hot mess. Oh, well. I'm going to sew them. I can't really sew it by hand because that would hurt too much. Is he too loud? That's okay if he's too loud because he's my baby and he can do whatever he wants. For the most part. So, anyways, you got to cut out 3 layers for all your face masks so that you have your pretty top, your nice soft under for your eye, and some kind of a thick middle. So this pattern that I chose, I did 2 giant, this is just the longest fabric I could find easily. So I did 2 of the same for my inside and my back, and then I did 1 nice top. And I don't try to inside out these because that would take way longer than necessary. And I think that the stitching over the top looks fine. These are all just machine stitched over the top. You can do it by hand if your hands, work, and you can. I can't. You got to iron your fabric too. I've tried many times to avoid that step and sew without, and your stuff is noticeably wonky if you try to skip that step. It's an important step. So anyways, cut out 3 layers for all the things you're doing. So I realized that I didn't have enough fabric to make 2 of the really, really long ones that I was going to do. So I made straps here for this galaxy one. So this is another thing you can do if you don't have elastic or enough fabric to make a long one, but you need straps. You can attach straps to the roundy face kind by doing this. So you have the flat and then you fold in the 2, and then you fold the whole thing together like this. And then you just iron it down. You have to iron it or it won't stay. And then you can sew it later. And you also need to iron in one of the ends because one of the ends is going to be in your face mask. So only one of the ends is going to be noticeable. I'm glad he likes his new toy. It was a little bit of a struggle to even get that for him. And now he's going to just rub his face on my art books. That's okay. That's okay. You can do whatever you want. He's really old and he has some health stuff going on. He hurt himself in the last house that we lived in. So he has a permanent injury to one of his feet. But it can get a little better with mild exercise and warm weather. It gets a lot worse in the cold weather. Anyways, that's about the dog. So with your 3 layers, you're going to pin your elastic or your straps in between the 2 thicker layers. So since my top decorative layer is kind of thin, I put it in between the 2 felt pieces. And felt is a good eye backing or middle. It's soft, it's thick, it's nice to keep out light. So felt works totally fine if you have felt, and then you can also draw on it, decorate it, do whatever you want. I don't want things like that on it because I don't want to feel anything on it. I just want it to be fabric. I don't want paint or sewing or anything like that. So for this one was going to be the Velcro, which was my total favorite. And I actually did decide to sleep with this one last night because why not? So I liked this one. This one was comfortable. I didn't try the other two yet, but I just made these yesterday. So this one is going to be the snap button one, the one that I did my ties for. I realized I do the snap buttons a little wiggly, but you know, I'm a little wiggly. I think I work too fast and don't stop and think things out often enough or something. I don't know. But whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll see how that even feels. I didn't put those ones on yet. I'm going to try them on when I'm done. And after I show the pattern, I'll show a visual for how they work. So then this is going to be the one that's closed with elastic. So the only elastic I can find is my giant head. I'm still wearing the sweatpants. I measure it from temple to temple. So I put my head down. And I'm just trying to measure temple to temple. And then you use a smidge less than however long it was temple to temple. You don't have to lay your face on the table like that. I don't know. I can't even explain it, but I laid my face down. Okay. Don't even. Can't explain it. So that'll go in between your two strong layers on those two. So again, I put that up. What's that stuff called? Oh my God, what is this stuff called? I put the elastic in between the two layers of felt, just like I put the homemade string, whatever you call that strand that I made, closure. So you can tell on some of them I forget to do my seam allowance, and on some of them I remember. Then it's really big at the end, but you can trim those. It doesn't matter. This is just supposed to be an extremely basic project, as easy as possible. Well, I mean, easier would have been glue, but glue doesn't seem like it'd be comfortable for your face. I think sewing seems better. So anyways, I'm still cutting out my 3 layers for my next one. And then since the only elastic I had was orange, I decided I'm going to make a Halloween themed one because why not? So I have this cat fabric that we got a long time ago and never wound up using for anything. So here I am going to use it. Lost my train of thought again. I'm thinking about these patches of skin that I have. So I went to the ear doctor and I found out I have eczema in my ear canals, which is like the weirdest thing. So I have to put a dropper, like it's not that long. It's a pretty damn long dropper in my ears with olive oil. And now it's on my tattoos and my elbows. Like, I don't know if you can see anything, but I can feel it and I don't like it. So here's my 3 face masks. I whip out the sewing machine, my total best friend on earth. This thing is, I have a love-hate relationship. I love how convenient it is to use a sewing machine, but I'm not good at it. And when something goes wrong, I can't necessarily fix it. I also can't like make a new bobbin very well, but it kind of worked on here. I didn't notice any like bad thread poking out, but I did totally use up the entire spool, the entire spool of thread that was on the sewing machine, because I'm only using these really weird skinny ones that I found. I think these were my great-grandmother's. I'm not certain where these weird skinny ones came from, but I did use that whole thing up and I had to go find another, and I did happen to find another that was purple, and it was a similar purple, so I went with that so that it was consistent. But usually I just pick any color. I don't care what my thread color is. I barely ever bother to match it because my work's not good enough for me to care. It's not like I'm trying to impress anybody with my art skills. I am just making art. It may not even function at the end of whatever I make. But hey, you know, it's a try. It's a try. I will never get over that sweater that I made that I couldn't even put on my doll because one arm was always inside out, no matter what I did to it. It was the best thing I ever sewed, and it wasn't usable. So anyways, these lines are the best when sewing because they are so easy and so basic. You just follow the straight lines. And when you get to a corner, you keep the needle in, pick the foot up, spin the fabric around, put the foot back down, but be very careful not to break your needle. You cannot pull on your needle at all when you spin it. And then it's in the exact same place, and you can do all these corners really tightly and nicely. And then don't forget to do the back forth thing if you use the sewing machine to make sure that your thread doesn't just unravel. So, you know. Oh, and when you pin your layers together, try to pin them straight down the nose and then try to pin it up each, you know, so that you have the middle battened down first and it doesn't all start to slide. That helps. So then after on the sewing machine, all of these things are completely sewn. I sew on the Velcro and the snap buttons by hand because I don't want the Velcro to get caught in the sewing machine. I don't know how to change the foot of a sewing machine. I've never done that before. And I don't know if you'd need a new foot to sew on Velcro, but I am not here to try that. So I don't like to change the settings on it either because it works perfectly for just regular fabric if I leave it alone. So I'm going to leave it alone. I lost my train of thought. So I just use regular embroidery thread, and it wouldn't look great on the outside if you had a pattern that was really all that noticeable. You could get around that by technically if you sew this on and then you sew the 3 layers together, then all of this sewing would have been on the inside. But I didn't want to do that because I didn't want the Velcro to be in the way of the sewing machine because Velcro is thick and I don't want it to mess things up and snag and make the bobbin funny. So I didn't care that much. Also, my pattern that I have, the black lines just kind of disappear, so it doesn't really matter. And be careful when you do which side goes which, and actually try to close it so that you can tell where to put the Velcro or the snaps. I have definitely done that wrong. I put all these magnets in this line down to our basement in all these cubbies that we have, and I thought I had checked to make sure that they like magnet together before I glued them all on. Not a single one is in the right order. So they're all actually pushing each other away. So it's like, oh my goodness. So it was a waste of glue and magnets and time. And I never bothered to go pluck them off and try to fix it because it's a big mess. So then I have these snap buttons that I believe were my great-grandmother's. They were in her little sewing caddy thing. So I went and took a few of these. I just did a line of 3 so that it's like size adjustable depending, you know, if you didn't know what size your head was when you were doing it. Just kind of randomly slapped the snap button things down. I wasn't measuring that to my head or anything. I figured it doesn't matter that much because if you can only get the one end snapped, fine. If you can get all 3 snapped, fine. I guess well, there's no way my head is small enough to need it to be closer than that. That's got to be fine, right? Also, I made the mask way big so it goes all the way around your face. So there's like this big expanse of coverage. How else do you say that? I don't necessarily like how small a lot of the masks are, so I make mine enormous. That's just kind of oh well. I sew really slowly, don't I? So sewing these things on was I made it all wiggly. It was a thing. And then you just go around and I just trimmed all the extra edges off. Be careful not to accidentally trim your elastic or your straps while you're doing that, but I do feel like it's kind of necessary to trim some of that off because they're uneven, the layers, and some of my layers are a lot bigger because I forgot to do seam allowances. So my bad. So I'm about done with this, and I'm going to show the whole mess once there we go. Okay, so that's my pattern. You can screenshot that or whatever. And so this was the original mask. Just one of these basic Target masks, so worn. It is all curly and frayed. It's literally coming apart. So that's what I was replacing. And these are the 3 that I made. Oh, I guess I can't wear glasses. The buttons are all, for some reason. Oh, I guess my head is smaller than I thought. I need to make this one tighter. So this one, my head's a lot smaller than I thought. Okay, it's comfortable, but yeah. So I needed to add a few more snap buttons. My bad. Oh well. The dog's gonna cry at me now. Don't you cry at me. Go up. So, I gotta snap this. I have a little bit of OCD. I can't just leave it unsnapped. So then this is the next one. It's the one with the Velcro. That's not Velcro. This is elastic. Don't mind me. So that also could have been a little bit tighter. I like when they're kind of hugging my face. But it works. It's comfortable. It's soft. Oh my goodness, dude. Leave me alone for a second. I need a second. He's in my lap. If I show you, I'll knock the whole camera down though. Okay, and then this is the last one. This is one I wore last night. It was really comfortable. I think that he's just nosy about what I'm doing here. This one is so comfortable. This is totally my favorite. It's tight. It blocks down low. It's soft, and I like how it feels around my forehead. But instead of unzipping it, you can also just unzip it. You can also just push it up. So I liked this one. Here, I'm going to show you my Noi. Where is he? There he is. In my lap, where you don't belong. Whoop.